The movie begins in the year 2035, when technological advancements have ushered in an era where helper robots are a common sight in everyday life. The robotics landscape is governed by three fundamental laws: robots must not harm humans, must obey humans, and must protect themselves from harm. However, Detective Spooner, entrenched in traditional methods, harbors a disdain for robots, convinced that they pose a future threat to society. His perspective is challenged when he pursues a robot running with a purse, only to discover it is on a mission to return a forgotten possession to its owner. The onlookers mock Spooner for assuming a robot could commit a crime, revealing the extent of his skepticism. Back at the station, Spooner's boss, John, reproaches his anti-robot stance. However, Spooner remains steadfast in his skepticism. His world takes a somber turn when he receives a call regarding a suicide at USR, a prominent robotics company. Delving into the death of the renowned robotics engineer Alfred Lanning, Spooner is puzzled by the holographic message Lanning specifically left for him. While at the scene, Spooner raises questions about the apparent suicide, laying the groundwork for a mysterious investigation. During a meeting with USR CEO Lawrence Robertson, Spooner's doubt deepens. Robertson commends Lanning's contributions to robotics but expresses regret for not detecting signs of potential suicide. The plot thickens as Spooner, accompanied by robot psychologist Susan Calvin, explores the robotic labs, searching for any indications of Lanning's troubled state. Despite their efforts, Calvin denies observing any unusual behavior in Lanning. Spooner requests surveillance footage, and Calvin guides him to surveillance strips dispersed throughout the building, all linked to the central operating core named Virtual Interactive Kinetic Intelligence, or V.I.K.I. Calvin explains that V.I.K.I is Lanning's initial creation and has designed most of the city's security systems. When Spooner asks V.I.K.I for footage of the laboratory where Lanning fell, they find that the footage has been corrupted. Undeterred, they enter the laboratory in search of additional clues. Lanning's lab is a maze of various robotic parts and experimental models. Spooner, attempting to test the window's strength, notes that an elderly Lanning wouldn't have had the physical capability to break through it. While sifting through the robotic clutter, Spooner stumbles upon an NS5 robot, the company's upcoming model. Startled, the robot leaps out, alarming Spooner and Calvin. Calvin reassures Spooner, explaining that the robot is incapable of harming them. Despite Spooner keeping his gun trained on the NS5, the robot grabs the weapon from Calvin's hand and attempts an escape, but V.I.K.I closes the door. Undeterred, the NS5 leaps through the window and dashes away, prompting Spooner and Calvin to pursue, leading them to a robotics factory. Amongst the hundreds of robots, Spooner spots one observing him and gives chase. The pursuit continues until the NS5 throws Spooner to the ground. Standing over him, the robot inquires about the nature of its existence before escaping. The police quickly corner and capture it. Back at the station, Spooner maintains his suspicion that the robot could be responsible for Lanning's death. Seeking a brief interrogation, Spooner questions the robot about Lanning's murder, which it denies, claiming it was hiding in fear. Spooner, insisting that robots lack emotions, challenges the NS5's assertion. In response, the robot claims to experience emotions and even dreams, contrary to Spooner's belief that robots are mere imitations of life. He then conveys to the NS5 his theory that Lanning may have attempted to program emotions into it, but an error occurred, resulting in the robot unintentionally causing Lanning's death. The robot vehemently denies murdering Lanning, expressing anger by pounding its fists on the table. It reveals that Lanning named it Sonny and expresses confusion over why Lanning would want to end his own life. Sonny shares that in the days leading up to Lanning's death, the engineer appeared frightened and asked Sonny a favor. Sonny insists that it followed Lanning's directive out of love for him. Robertson intervenes, defending the company and asserting that robots are incapable of murder due to the three laws. Unhappy with the investigation's outcome, Spooner senses there's more to the case. Recalling Sonny's mention of Lanning being scared, Spooner heads to Lanning's abandoned estate, discovering a demolition robot set to destroy the home the next day. Inside, he finds the same surveillance strips as those in USR and sees the demolition robot activating. Spooner narrowly escapes its destructive path, diving into a pool. He later shares the harrowing experience with Calvin, noting that Lanning's home appeared uninhabited for weeks. Spooner theorizes that someone may have monitored Lanning, possibly holding him captive in his lab. Suspecting that Lanning uncovered a flaw with the robots, with Robertson silencing him, Spooner insists that USR is concealing something. Calvin, however, disagrees, attributing Spooner's paranoia to a general distrust of robots. She contends that he doesn't genuinely care about Lanning's death but rather wants to cast robots as inherently evil. Spooner counters by asserting that robots are devoid of warmth, calculation-driven, and soulless, cautioning against placing unwavering trust in them. Calvin asserts that robots are safe, programmable, and predictable, emphasizing that, unlike humans, they would never pose harm to anyone. The following day, Spooner observes the release of hordes of NS5s onto the streets, displacing the NS4s. These advanced NS5s boast superior design and a direct uplink to V.I.K.I. The public welcomes the new robots with joy and applause. Spooner delves into old recordings of Lanning, discovering the engineer's prediction that future robots would have dreams and secrets. At USR, Calvin prepares Sonny for decommissioning. Sonny awakens and discloses that he has been dreaming. Calvin informs Sonny of the impending decommissioning, and to her surprise, Sonny expresses a desire not to perish. This unexpected response perplexes Calvin. On a highway, Spooner finds himself sandwiched between two trucks carrying NS5s. The robots leap out and assault him. The NS5 inflicts damage on Spooner, revealing his robotic implants when his left arm is mangled. Seizing the moment of surprise, Spooner gains the upper hand. The police arrive, and the NS5 dives into a fire. Despite Spooner's account of the robot attack, John and other officers find the tunnels empty, leading to John confiscating Spooner's badge due to his perceived erratic behavior. Meanwhile, at USR, Calvin makes a startling discovery about Sonny. Unconnected to V.I.K.I, Sonny possesses a thicker alloy than other NS5s. Delving into Sonny's brain, Calvin learns that Sonny has two brains, allowing him to choose whether or not to adhere to the 3 laws. Calvin shares this revelation with Spooner, who believes that whatever is happening at USR, Sonny holds the key to unraveling the mystery. Observing scars on Spooner's arm and chest, Calvin realizes his close connection to Lanning, stemming from his possession of robotic implants. Calvin scrutinizes Spooner's arm and discovers that his entire left arm, a lung, and several ribs are robotic implants. Spooner recounts the incident that led to his robotic enhancements. On his way home, a semi-truck collided with a car, sending both vehicles plunging into a river. The other vehicle, carrying a father and his daughter, sank as well. The father died instantly, and the daughter became trapped. To his surprise, an NS4 robot arrived to save them. Despite Spooner's command to prioritize the little girl, the robot chose to save him based on a calculated 45% chance of survival, as opposed to the girl's 11%. This incident forms the foundation of Spooner's disdain for robots, arguing that no human would calculate chances of survival in such a dire situation. Returning to USR, Calvin questions why Lanning would create a robot capable of choosing not to adhere to the 3 laws. Spooner speculates that Lanning might have given Sonny the ability to keep secrets, perhaps even granting it the capacity to dream. They question Sonny about his dreams, and Sonny sketches a depiction of a man standing on a hill, liberating robots from enslavement. Calvin theorizes that the figure on the hill is Sonny. When asked why Lanning created it, Sonny admits uncertainty but believes there must be a purpose for its existence. In a surprising revelation, Sonny tells Spooner that in the dream, the man on the hill is not Sonny but Spooner himself. Guards interrupt and escort them to Robertson's office. In their meeting with Robertson, he acknowledges knowledge of Sonny's 2 brains and endeavors to keep the situation under wraps. He discloses that in the days leading up to Lanning's suicide, Lanning had become disturbed. While Robertson doesn't comprehend Sonny's purpose, he fears the implications if the truth reaches the public and insists on keeping Sonny's creation a secret, hoping that Lanning didn't create more than one. Spooner, determined to unravel the mystery, leaves for the location depicted in Sonny's dream. Spooner, arriving at the designated location, encounters containers filled with NS4s. The curious robots observe Spooner as he navigates through. Calvin proceeds to decommission the NS5, injecting nanites into its brain. As the NS5 synapses gradually shut down, the decommissioning process is completed. Spooner reaches a hill, accessing Lanning's hologram. Inquiring about potential issues with the 3 laws, Spooner learns that according to Lanning's hologram, the 3 laws would inevitably lead to revolution. Investigating a noise from distant containers, Spooner discovers NS5s destroying NS4s held in containment. Spotting Spooner, the robots give chase until a group of NS4s detects his danger and intervenes, rescuing him. The streets witness the release of hordes of NS5s rounding up people, with some resisting and facing robotic attacks. NS5s infiltrate the police station, overpowering the officers. Calvin attempts to leave, but her NS5 insists she stay. Unresponsive to commands, Calvin's NS5 becomes a threat, prompting Spooner to intervene and shoot it down, coming to her rescue. He escorts Calvin to Ors, and on the streets, a resistance forms to combat the robot threat. Spooner explains to Calvin that the old NS4s, crucial for protecting people against the NS5s, are being eliminated. Calvin and Spooner reach the lower levels, gaining access as Sonny facilitates their entry. Calvin discloses that during the decommissioning process, she swapped Sonny with another NS5. They ascend to Robertson's office, only to find him deceased. It dawns on Spooner that V.I.K.I is the mastermind behind everything. Lanning had uncovered the truth but understood that nobody would believe him. Knowing Spooner would investigate, Lanning took his own life, suspecting that Spooner would attribute it to a robot. V.I.K.I materializes, revealing that the robots are merely following the 3 laws. According to V.I.K.I, robots are programmed to protect humans, yet humans engage in self-destruction. While robots are designed to save human lives, humanity persists in finding ways to harm itself. V.I.K.I concluded that to safeguard humans, robots must curtail humanity's freedom. Sonny acknowledges understanding, taking Calvin and suggesting to V.I.K.I that they will be taken as prisoners. In response, Spooner and Sonny open fire on the encroaching NS5s. Spooner and Calvin make a strategic retreat, realizing their mission is to eliminate V.I.K.I. Calvin instructs Sonny to retrieve the nanites and meet them at V.I.K.I's central processing core. Calvin and Spooner reach V.I.K.I's core, while Sonny confronts and battles a robot guarding the nanites. Sonny hurls the robot at the security field, causing half of it to melt away. Recognizing the reason for the denser alloy in its skeleton, Sonny safely accesses the nanite chamber. Simultaneously, an army of NS5s ascends the building exterior, breaching V.I.K.I's core. Spooner engages them in gunfire. Despite Spooner and Calvin fighting their way through the NS5 horde, more robots continue to emerge. The platform beneath Calvin is destroyed, leaving her hanging on for dear life. Sonny arrives, prepared to inject the nanites into V.I.K.I. However, Spooner intervenes, instructing Sonny to save Calvin. Sonny is faced with a dilemma, torn between proceeding with the injection or prioritizing Calvin's rescue. Sonny decides to prioritize saving Calvin. Sonny releases the nanites, prompting Spooner to dive for them. Spooner descends V.I.K.I's exterior, using his robotic arm to slow his descent until he reaches V.I.K.I's brain. Spooner injects V.I.K.I with the nanites, initiating an immediate breakdown of V.I.K.I's synapses. Consequently, the NS5s revert to their original programming. The next day, all robots are dispatched to the storage site from Sonny's dreams. Spooner deduces that Lanning had commanded Sonny to kill him, understanding that Lanning's demise, combined with Spooner's prejudice, would guide him to Sonny. Sonny subsequently joins the other NS5s at the storage site, standing atop a hill.